Hi, my name is Rich Lannan, and I'm a recipient of the Meri Goyette Award, an event this past summer. I grew up over the border in Tingsboro, but met my wife who grew up and born and raised in Nashua, and been in Nashua since 1975, the Nashua area. So since then, I got into real estate in 1978, and I've been in real estate one way or the other ever since. So since 78 in Nashua, various offices, and from a real estate broker to a partnership with some large developers in the area to about 25 years ago, forming my own company, the Lannan Company. And within a few years after that, my oldest daughter, and right after that, her husband, my son-in-law, joined me, and they pretty much run all the property management and just started kind of snowballing various real estate investments, apartment buildings, mobile home parks, shopping centers. But you started very involved about 25 years ago with buying a mixed-use building right downtown called the Old Sears Block, which is really from Papanusic Furniture to Styles Tapas Bar is now. And that started getting me involved in more downtown Nashua events, committees, and so forth. I was very involved in the early days of real estate and a lot of things with the children's home, Boys Club, Girls Club, running events for them. And once I get involved, I get involved. So I kind of throw in both feet. It's not just one foot. But for many years, I was a lot of traveling with my business and real estate and just wasn't around, so became uninvolved. And then once I was back downtown, between Donnelly Lozo and the publisher of the Telegraph at the time asked me to get involved in a committee. And I said, sure, why not? And it just snowballed from there. So it was committee, then another committee, and where I had a pretty large property downtown. And and I've known a lot of people being in real estate so long. And again, once I get involved, I throw both feet in, and I did, and became involved in the Downtown Improvement Committee that's been around a while, that does a lot of things with downtown, but works with a lot of the art industry. So we've donated to City Arts Nashua. We've had music programs in the street, deal with the Christmas time and so forth. So it became that, and then getting involved in the chamber and a lot of the chamber events and Great American Downtown events, and sponsor the things like the Stroll and various events in downtown Nashua with that. And then probably got really involved more specifically with the arts 4 years ago when they tore the building down, butting my building in front of the church. And I had this big ugly wall, and Positive Street Art happened to be my tenant, and that's when they painted and designed the Nostalgia Mall, which is where the Three Stooges and Gone with the Wind and all that is. And we decided to light it up, and that kind of got me knowing more about Positive Street Art and what they did. And again, that just started rolling into, because of things like that, I was asked to be on a committee for the Performing Arts Center to find somebody that's going to design it and so forth. So I said, sure, I'll get involved. But that really, the last 3 years has been a lot. I mean, so involved in pretty much every committee that has to do, whether it's the fundraising, whether it's the steering committee, whether it's the nonprofit, and just kind of, again, just really got involved in all of that. It learned a lot and exciting, but the great thing about it is just got to know so many people. I thought you always think you know a lot of different people, and so many people you don't. And I got to meet, like Mark Thayer and Babu, both of which are involved in the National Symphony on 2 different committees, and people, like Lisa Bissonette and City Arts Nashua and Lindsay Rinaldi of the National Music School. So I started to get to know all these people in different parts of the art. And I always said, I'm not into the arts. But then I start thinking about all the concerts I go to. I bring my kids to theater. We're up to Palace Theater quite a bit. Lowell Auditorium. I grew up, my family grew up in Tingsboro and Lowell, so I go to Lowell Auditorium for a lot of events. And so, I'm probably more involved than I thought I was. Sometimes you think of the arts, you think of the paintings, and obviously the arts is so much more. So, I kind of chuckle about it, the fact that I didn't think I really was into the arts at all. And I know other people that say that, and they, wait a minute, do you know that you do this and this and this and this? Oh yeah, I guess that's the arts. So I've really enjoyed meeting so many great people in various art, organizations and nonprofits. It's been a lot of fun. The primary thing is obviously the Performing Arts Center. Not just because I'm involved. I think that's huge, and I think a lot of people sometimes will come out and say, yeah, that's just, the only people going to benefit for that is the downtown restaurants. That's all, and it's just so much more. So I think again, I've learned a lot just from listening to other people, listening to the consultants, and we toured as part of the process early on several theaters and performing arts centers all over New England to learn and get tours and what do you do right, what do you do wrong, how does that help the community, and again, learned a lot about that. And just Nashua, it's the second largest city in the state, and it's on the Massachusetts border, so it's not just about downtown, it's really about, I think, the city as a whole, and the surrounding communities are going to benefit so much. We're starting to hear from even the seniors, and we've had a couple of seniors that have come out that I don't even know that have spoken and said, right now, we're seniors, but we can get out there and do things, and yet we got to go to Manchester or Concord or Boston, and having a performing arts center for even that group is huge. So it's not just about downtown. It's going to change downtown Nashua. Downtown Nashua, I think, is in pretty good shape considering. I mean, COVID obviously has been challenging. It is still too early to tell, but look and see how many businesses have closed down. Again, it's early, but it really hasn't happened like it has in other cities. So it's holding its own, and there's so much anticipation. Know a couple of developers that have bought, like what they're doing at Pennachuck, who bought the TD Bank building. There's still more investments in downtown because of things like the Performing Arts Center that could really make a difference. So I think over the next 5 years, I mean, we hope to see this up and running in a year and a half max. And I think it'll show an immediate change, and it'll just keep on improving. And that brings in, other types of tenants and maybe a change of tenants. And if it helps the businesses, it helps the property owners. If it helps the property owners, eventually it helps even the taxpayers. But it's going to make a big difference in downtown for sure. Even though the Performing Arts Center, it will be the new kind of landmark, and it's obviously right in the heart, in the middle of downtown. But, there's so many other things going on too that all ties in with the Riverwalk, the trails, connecting that whole waterfront and the river, which not many cities, if they have water going through the city, is something you'll never do anything with. But Nashua has a great opportunity, which they're working on a lot right now. So between tying in all the rail trail and doing everything they're doing downtown, you add this, you add more, there'll be more other events downtown. So it won't be just inside the Performing Arts Center. It's going to be, I see the Court Street Theater, changing at some point, So I know a lot of people are saying, well, the Court Street Theater really needs to have work, and it does. I'm not super familiar with it, but just familiar enough that I know that it does need help. And I see that's probably the next thing. Once the Performing Arts Center gets off and running, and to be as successful as we believe it will be, and the operator, who's a very successful New England-based operator, is taking all the risk as far as the success of the center, and him willing to do that just shows what he feels about Nashua. And we've had meetings, public meetings at steering committees about how once this is up and running, let's not forget the Court Street Theater. That's not going away. At least we don't want it to. We want it to be enhanced, and that's probably the longer term plan. I mean, hopefully it doesn't take 10 years, but things like that and just more other events that's tied in, whether it's tied directly into the Performing Arts Center or just because it's there, it's going to get more people from the area coming downtown to take advantage of other, the art walk or certain symposiums and the sculpture symposium and things like that. So I think the trickle effect of what that's going to do for a lot of events to bring people into downtown is huge. There's been a couple of people, especially at the beginning, haven't heard as much lately, that think that this is going to put that out of business and that's going to be closed down. And there are so many people, and even people in Alderman on the steering committee that's saying that's not the desire here, is to take the place of anything. These are two very distinct, different type of theaters. I mean, Manchester has a few. Concord has a couple now. I mean, Portsmouth has a couple different ones. So it's not a matter of taking its place. It's a matter of, I think it's not just me. I'm not the expert, but a lot of people feel that they will benefit from it in the long run, because I think there's a lot of things that they do that probably can't be done in a big theater like this. So it'll be able to happen now. So I think they'll find, it might take a couple, 3 years. I don't know how long, but I think that it'll benefit. And the Court Street Theater can only do more. It's obviously more challenging. It depends on, the giving and depending what your job is, of course. And are you still able to do the same, And I guess if you can't donate, if for some reason financially your company, your business is not doing as well and you can't donate as much in dollars, and then maybe donate some time. It's probably would be somebody that really is interested in helping the nonprofits. There's been a couple nonprofits I've helped in the last 6 months that I'd never have, not in just small ways. But yeah, I know they're all looking for the same pool of money. I feel the Performing Arts Center, going back to that, is a little bit different. Some people only have so much money they're going to do to one thing, and that's fine. But somebody that might be giving to the soup kitchen or the children's home, the Performing Arts Center is a little bit different animal, and they could still do that. Sometimes some of the charities, they're fighting for the same dollar. To some extent, that's true here, but not as much. But COVID, obviously, everybody I talked to, Mike from the United Way, I talked to some of these people, and it's everybody's working twice as hard to get maybe a quarter of the amount of money in to do their events. And if their events are canceled, they're not making money in their events, and it's tough. But it's just having people still do a little bit, do something. If you were donating $500, maybe you donate $50 or $100 or whatever the amount is. Or maybe you can just volunteer and help out a little bit, especially if you have the time. Like I said earlier, I've got to know a lot of people, and you never realize until you start meeting people and open your eyes a little bit and see how many people really are involved. And there are so many different art, groups, programs that I never would imagine, even being in business in Nashua all these years. When you're not involved and not really opening your eyes and seeing it, you don't know. So I just very amazed of how many people work very tirelessly. The Lisa's of the world, but there's so many like that just work hard. It means a lot to them. So it's been a pretty good thing to watch. I would do anything for my grandkids. My 8-year-old, 6-year-old, they are not in my car for 5 seconds, and they call me GP. And they say, GP, you know what you're going to do? And I got to put it on, and I got to blare it, and they make me sing along with them, singing to the Carrie Underwood's Champion. Only time I sing in the car or anywhere is probably with the grandkids. Me and my entire family, I have 3 daughters, and my wife and I are the least musically inclined family that I know. My favorite is concert and theater. It's just the excitement, the vibe, seeing live music from somebody's playing guitar outside of MT's while you're having dinner, to being at a Kenny Chesney concert in Gillette Stadium with 60,000 people just listening to great music, or going to a Jimmy Buffett concert that I've gone to probably 50 plus times. And I am a parrot head, true parrot head. If I had to use just one word to describe the arts in Nashua, I really couldn't. I'm excited to see more about what's going on, and a lot that I didn't know. Just the result of the hard work, just the result of a successful, not just Performing Arts Center, but a successful downtown, and be able to, I'm never going to retire, but 10, 20 years from now, walking down Main Street and seeing the hard work all came to life. I enjoy work. I enjoy life too, but I enjoy what we do.
Thank you for joining our virtual Art Week. City Arts Nashua appreciates the support of our sponsors and you, our viewers. Please continue to support our local artists and our musicians and theater groups. For more information on arts in Nashua, please visit cityartsnashua.org.